Imagine waking up one morning and something feels off. You walk down your street and it's eerily quiet. The construction site that was bustling yesterday is deserted. No one's serving coffee at your local shop. The evening news confirms it. Every undocumented immigrant in America is gone. Vanished. This isn't some dystopian movie plot. It's a thought experiment with terrifyingly real implications. Because without those workers, the America we know, the food we eat, the houses we live in, the services we rely on, would grind to a halt. The impact wouldn't be gradual, it would be immediate and widespread. Think about it. Who picks our fruits and vegetables? Who staffs our restaurants and hotels? Who cares for our children and aging parents? The answer, in many cases, is undocumented immigrants. Their absence would leave a gaping hole in the fabric of American life. Undocumented immigrants. The term itself feels cold, impersonal, but behind the label are millions of individuals with families, dreams, and fears just like ours. They're the busboy clearing your table, the roofer braving the summer heat, the nanny singing your child to sleep. The latest estimates suggest there are over 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the U.S. They aren't just farmhands in California or construction workers in Texas. They're deeply woven into the fabric of every state and industry. They're line cooks in New York City, meat packers in Iowa, landscapers in Florida. The list goes on. They're not on the sidelines of our economy, they're holding it up. Some argue that we could pay undocumented immigrants to leave, a sort of reverse incentive. Let's say, hypothetically, we offered each person $1,000 to self-deport. Sounds simple, right? Except 11 million times 1,000 is $11 billion. A drop in the bucket compared to the economic earthquake their departure would trigger, because here's the thing. You can't just replace millions of workers overnight. There isn't a line of qualified Americans waiting to take those jobs. The labor shortage would be catastrophic, sending shockwaves through every corner of the economy. The cost of goods and services would skyrocket. Businesses would shutter. The $11 billion solution would quickly become a multi-trillion-dollar problem. Let's get specific. Agriculture would be among the hardest hit. An estimated 50 to 70% of farm workers are undocumented. Without them, fields would go unharvested, crops would rot, and grocery store shelves would start looking bare. The price of produce? Through the roof. Construction? Another sector heavily reliant on undocumented labor. Think about the housing crisis we're already facing. Now imagine trying to build new homes, schools, and hospitals without those workers. The backlog would be insurmountable. And what about the service industry? Restaurants, hotels, and caregiving services rely heavily on undocumented immigrants. Without them, businesses would struggle to stay open, let alone provide the services we depend on. Logistics and manufacturing wouldn't be spared either. The supply chains that keep our country running rely on millions of workers, many of whom are undocumented. Their absence would create bottlenecks and delays, further crippling the economy. Section 5, From Main Street to Wall Street, the domino effect. The impact wouldn't be limited to individual industries, it would ripple outwards, affecting every aspect of American life. Small businesses already struggling would face closure. Local economies would be devastated, the stock market would plummet. Think about it. Fewer people working means less money being spent. Less consumer spending means lower corporate profits. Lower profits mean layoffs. It's a vicious cycle, and it wouldn't discriminate between red states and blue states, rural communities or urban centers. The entire nation would feel the pain. Section 6. The myth of the job thief. Debunking the stereotypes. Now, some still cling to the myth that undocumented immigrants are stealing American jobs and draining the system. But the reality is far more nuanced. They often take the jobs many Americans won't. Difficult, dangerous, or low-paying work. And draining the system? Studies have shown that undocumented immigrants contribute billions in taxes each year. They also bolster Social Security through payroll taxes, even though they'll likely never see a dime of those benefits. The idea that they're a drain is simply not supported by the facts. Section 7. Filling the void, a labor market in crisis. Let's be clear, there isn't a magic wand to wave away this problem. Even if we wanted to replace those 11 million workers overnight, and we shouldn't, it would be impossible. The American workforce simply isn't structured that way. We have a skills gap, an aging population, and frankly many Americans aren't willing to do the work that's been keeping our economy afloat. And the jobs most often filled by undocumented immigrants, those aren't easily automated. You can't replace a farmhand picking strawberries or a home health aide caring for the elderly with a robot, at least not yet. Section 8. The true cost of exclusion beyond the balance sheet. The economic fallout would be devastating, no doubt, but the human cost, that's immeasurable. We're talking about tearing apart families, upending lives, and creating a climate of fear and uncertainty for millions. Is that the America we want to be? One that turns its back on those who have contributed so much? One that prioritizes fear-mongering and political expediency over compassion and common sense? Section 9. A shared future, towards a more humane approach. This thought experiment isn't about fear-mongering. It's about facing a difficult truth. Undocumented immigrants are part of the backbone of this country. Instead of demonizing them, we need to create a pathway to citizenship, one that recognizes their contributions and allows them to come out of the shadows. This isn't just the moral thing to do, it's the economically sensible thing to do. We can't afford to lose millions of workers and the trillions of dollars they contribute to the economy. It's time to move past the divisive rhetoric and find real solutions. Our future, as a nation and an economy, depends on it.